Hello everybody, I am Rani Mikhailis, and today I would be talking about Sargon's question. I am not trying to offend anybody or start any trouble, so if you're easily offended, then this video isn't for you. Also, my friend Nick Carroll, he is more articulate than I am, so I would be leaving my friend's Twitter and YouTube in the description below if you want to talk to somebody who's far more articulate than I am. Now, I didn't quite understand Sargon's question, so I would be explaining why I have no problem with Christians refusing to cater a gay wedding. It is because, they honestly believe that they would spend all of eternity in hell. And I cannot imagine what that's like. But, it must suck a lot to believe that you're going to spend all of eternity in hell. And to me, all of the arguments against it are emotional. It's kind of like, well, don't do this because the gay person's feelings would be hurt. It's not quite the same as refusing to serve blacks in a gas station. The difference between not serving gays and not serving blacks at a gas station is that if a person is out of gas, they would be stranded in the middle of nowhere. They would have to call somebody to make their way home. Or if a hotel refuses to serve to blacks, let's just say I took a flight to Texas, and then, the hotel realizes that I'm black, and they're like, oh, we don't serve blacks. Well, I had to take a taxi and go from hotel to hotel to hotel to hotel, which would be financially draining. And, I would be, or in the Christmas season, if all the hotels are full, I would probably be stuck, like, sleeping on the streets. Again, that would terribly hurt a person. With refusing to serve a cake, how's that really hurting a person? A cake is bad for your health. A cake is, extra calories. It would just have you put on extra weight. In the end, it's not like a person is refusing to give you an apple. It would be like a person refusing to give you cigarettes. It would be like a person refusing to give you cocaine. It's like, oh, a cake is not exactly great for your health. And I don't know which doctor or dietitian will be like, oh yeah, you should, eat cake every day. Sure, if it's your wedding, it really sucks. But, if you really wanted the cake, you could just order the cake and just put the 2 grooms on top. You could buy the 2 grooms separately and add it on yourself. It's not like there isn't an easy loophole around it. Or you could just order a plain white cake, a wedding cake, and then have a friend, writes your name and your lover's name on top of the cake. There is a very, very easy loophole where you can still get the cake and still, have it for your gay wedding. I don't see the problem with just, don't ask, don't tell. If nobody asks you if it's for a gay wedding, don't tell them it's for a gay wedding. You can still get the cake. It's just, the cake is just, it doesn't seem like such a big deal. It just, because you could get a cake from pretty much anywhere. Nearly all places would sell a cake. This would have to be that particular cake from that particular caterer. And why on earth would you want to give a bigot your money? If somebody really hates gay people, why on earth would you want to make them richer? It's like, I am gonna punish you, and the way I'm gonna punish you is to put extra money in your wallet. That would teach you, like, yeah. And it's like, if you're gonna spend that money to endorse a hate organization or to put a hateful politician into power, then so be it. Things tend to swing. We were anti-black, but now we're pro-black. We're kind of like more anti-whites than anything. We were anti-gay, but now we're pro-gay. We could always go back to being anti-gay. Things swing, and the way I view it, why on earth would you want to give the government that much power, especially over things that are that minute? I mean, at least if you say gas stations, you must serve everybody, at least you're preventing people from being stranded. If you're saying hotels must accept everybody, at least, again, if it's the holiday season where all hotels are being booked, again, you could financially help somebody, or you could prevent somebody from being stranded. But it's kind of like when it comes to a cake in one of the fattest countries in the world. I mean, isn't America like one of the top 5 countries in the world where 33% of Americans are morbidly obese? I mean, and it's like, you're gonna act like you just can't get a cake anywhere. You can't get a cake at Walmart. I mean, they already have like pre-made cakes which says, congratulations for your wedding. You can really get a cake anywhere. So it's like, what's the big deal over that particular caterer? Hell, most people, or at least in the South, most people in the South know how to make a cake. It's really not that hard to make. Cakes will always have the same basic ingredients. Just get the eggs, get the flour, get the milk. I mean, it's kind of like, who doesn't know how to make a cake? At least in the South, we pretty much all know how to make a cake. So it's kind of like, it's just not life or death. It's not a real emergency. Cakes are bad for your health anyway. It's like, it's just leans towards being a bit spoiled about it. I mean, it really sucks if it's your wedding. You may just be a lot like, well, it's my cake, it's my wedding, I should have it my way. But it's kind of like, what would be the difference between you wanting a Christian to give you a gay wedding, even if, they believe they would spend all of eternity in hell, and me going to a Ku Klux Klan rally and say, hey KKK, would you like to, help me out with my wedding? It's like, if I were to go to like the Grand Wizard of the KKK and try to go to a KKK rally or meeting, like, hey, I really want your help and support for my wedding. Like, you decorate the wedding and you do this. You probably all think I'm crazy. But what's the difference? Why do you want to give a bigot your money so badly? Especially if they're charging like $1,000 for a wedding. You're gonna pay a person who hates you $1,000 when you don't have to? There are probably pro-gay people who would give you an even better cake. I mean, haven't you ever thought that there are people who are pro-LGBT, who wants to help the LGBT community, who makes it their life's mission to help them, who would give you an even more delicious cake, a cake that tastes even better? It's kind of a lot like, it would be a lot like if I wanted to go to a KKK restaurant, and then there's another restaurant that, supports, black people, and, tries to help black people with black issues, that serves even better food. It's kind of like, why do you think that that place has the best cake? how come you don't think that there is probably something even better? You could even go online and say which caterer would serve gays or which restaurant would serve blacks or whatever. Because I would say that the difference is America is full of the fattest people ever. Do not tell me it's really hard to find food in the fattest country of all. It's kind of like, if it's really hard to find food, then how come 33% of Americans are morbidly obese? If it's really so hard to find food in America, why are Americans so damn fat? You can find food anywhere. Food is easy to find. If it was difficult to get food in a place that's like we don't serve gays, my opinions would be different. Or if it was kind of like, if it was so difficult to find food and we're like, well, we don't want to serve blacks or gays, then I'll see a reason to protest. But it's kind of a lot like, there are more restaurants than there are churches. Even in Alabama, which is probably the church capital of the world, there are still far more restaurants than there are churches. You could find food absolutely anywhere. You can spit in any direction and find a place that serves food. And again, this place is more pro-LGBT than it is anti-LGBT, and I'm talking about America here, where isn't it a lot like, don't like over 50% of Americans support the gay community? That's, it's like, I don't know how much it is now, but I do know that, when Obama was in office, like, in his second term, it was like 52% of Americans are pro-LGBT. I don't know if it's risen now. So it's kind of like, you live in a country that is really supportive of gay people, and you're saying it's really going to be all that difficult to find a gay wedding cake. I mean, I'm sorry, but I find that hard to believe. It's kind of like it's like I could get a cake at Walmart, Winn-Dixie. You can just go to different caterers, and there are people who can make a more expensive wedding cake, cheap, expensive, whatever. For my family, they just got homemade because, again, down here everybody knows how to make a cake. And not only that, but down here, people would say that homemade tastes better. It's kind of like you can save that $1,000 and give you a person who would give you an even better cake for cheap. So it's not that you want control more than you want a cake. I mean, which do you really want? Control or a cake? Because if it's control you want, we're always swinging. We're always swinging one way or another way. We're anti-black, then we're pro-black. We're anti-gay, then we're pro-gay. And once when you give the government that type of power to the most minute details, what's to say it's not going to swing the other way? And for people to be bigoted in the most minute details, it could always swing to a direction that you don't like. I would think it would be better not to give the government that type of power in the first place. Kind of a lot like the government's in a bathroom, whether we should have unisex bathrooms, or if, people decide if they would want to have men and women bathrooms. Why do you want the government in each and every aspect of your lives? Why not keep the government as much out of your lives as possible? Because it could always swing in a direction you don't like. Kind of like animal form. You give the pigs power, the pigs could misuse that power, and they could always send that power to a direction that you hate. There's nothing you could do about it. To me, it's better to just not give the government too much power, to keep the government as much out of people's lives as possible. And a cake really doesn't seem like such a big deal, especially since homemade is usually better. Have you ever tried a homemade cake? Usually people love that so much more, and you can be denying yourself an opportunity of something better just to support bigots. And it would be just as ridiculous as if I went to the Ku Klux Klan rally and begged and pleaded the Grand Wizard or the Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan to bake a cake for me. Which is more likely that you would think the KKK should bake that cake for me, or that I'm crazy for wanting the KKK to bake a cake for me? Why do you want the bigot to give you a cake? And why on earth would you still had to pay for it? You still had to pay for it. You're still going to spend like $1,000 for a bigot. You know that bigots is going to spend that money to get a politician into power that hates the gays. You know, it's kind of like that would be like me, you know, going to a restaurant, you know, like let's just say it's a restaurant called The Plantation, and me going to the plantation saying, I want you to, you know, cater my interracial wedding. And they're like, no, we don't support interracial marriage. We believe in white purity. And for me to go like, oh yeah, well, I'm gonna send my lawyers to make you do it anyway, just for them to give the KKK more money. And the more money the KK has, the more political power and the more political influence they have. You are just going to give bigots more money and in turn more power. I just think it's ridiculous. You know, because to me, by doing so, you are supporting bigotry. You are supporting bigotry. You know, you may think that you're just making them do what you want, and yes, you are. But once when you give the government power, they could always they could always turn on you, and they could always be a lot like, you're serving a gay wedding. Well, you know, because you're serving a gay wedding, we have to stop you from serving the gays. Oh, you're serving an interracial wedding? Well, we had to stop you from doing that. You give the power, the government the power to get involved in people's personal lives and to do something, they could always turn on you and do the things that you hate. And we do swing. We do swing from one way to another. We were anti-black not that long ago. Now we're pro-black. We were anti-gay. Now we're pro-gay. Are you sure that this is the type of power you want to give to the government, just to bitch about the government? The moment when they're like, the moment the government intervenes and says, you know, blacks and whites are not allowed to hang with each other, the government doesn't allow it anymore. You cannot serve a gay wedding. The government is not going to allow it anymore. If you serve a gay wedding, you'll get arrested if you serve the gays. You know, it's kind of like, it's better to just, if somebody doesn't want to serve you, just go somewhere else. You know, I wouldn't want to give a bigot my money anyway. And if you want to give a bigot your money, then what's the point of judging a black person who supports the Ku Klux Klan? You're no different. But that's my take on it. Now, I probably didn't express this as well as I would like, so maybe Nick Carroll could explain it better than me. So I would leave Nick Carroll's YouTube and Twitter in the description below, because maybe he could articulate this better than I could, because I mean, he's more well spoken than me, he's more articulate than me, so maybe it's came out the wrong way with me, and I probably am giving you the wrong message. So please, please follow Nick Carroll on Twitter, follow him on YouTube, because he could explain this far better than I could. Bye bye, y'all.